Some people get into the routine of routines. They would do all the prep work, but not do the shit. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Must Become YouTube channel. My name is Spencer. Let's jump right into this video. Okay guys, today we're gonna talk about a principle that's been made very popular by the one and only most popular bodybuilder of all time, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we are going to extrapolate this principle to other areas of life that I've seen a lot of value in and I wanna share with you guys, especially if you're a young man. This is gonna be incredibly important to know in the gym, in life, in business, whatever it may be. This is a really important principle that you guys can take with you and you can use to help you make decisions that can help you have better outcomes in your life. So without further ado, guys, the principle is called the priority principle. It's exactly what it sounds like, guys. It's about prioritizing what is the most important thing and putting that first. Now, I'll give you some context, a little bit of history of where this comes from. If anyone's read, I believe it's called the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, something like that. I read it when I was a young man, maybe 14, 15, when I was really starting to get into working out. But basically it talks about how Arnold would always go into the gym and he would train the most important thing first. Now, notice I didn't say favorite, I didn't say most dominant, I didn't even say compound necessarily. People talk about compound movements first. However, Arnold would always have the priority principle dictate that the most important thing was trained first. To determine what's important, we need to consider obviously what bodybuilders prize themselves on. We have size, but we also have symmetry. So for example, like, is it symmetrical to have your back much bigger than your chest, or your chest much bigger than your back? Probably not. You probably want a well-rounded physique. Now, the priority principle would dictate that, he would go into the gym and if his calves were weak, even though it was back day, he might train calves first. Lots of amazing bodybuilders since then have obviously used this principle to bring up body parts of theirs that have been lacking. You'll see they'll come in one year, they'll look kind of flat on one area. They'll come in the next year and they'll blow it out of the water with that same body part. So a lot of this is to the priority principle. But I want to talk about how using a priority principle can go further than just bodybuilding. Let's talk about in life, the priority principle. I've talked a little bit on my channel about the danger of routines. There's some really good routines out there, but sometimes routines can be procrastination and they can be traps. People will talk about having a 3-hour routine, where they need to get their special grounding sandals on, walk around the block 10 times, they'd meditate for an hour, take a cold shower, all this and that, right? All these things that are actually good to do, but they would obsess with the routine and not actually do the shit, right? They would do all the prep work, but not do the shit. Some people get into the routine of routines. So what their day becomes is about mastering all these little routines that are gonna, optimize their body, their mind, or whatever it is, but they don't actually get the shit done. So the priority principle, if you follow this, there's a way that you can structure this. I believe his name is Robin Sharma, has this idea of the 90/90/1. So 90-90-1 routine or practice. This is essentially what I'm talking about, which is the priority principle, putting the most important thing first. Let me explain it a little bit. The idea here is that for the first 90 minutes of the first 90 days. So for 90 days, you're gonna take the first 90 minutes and you're gonna do the number one most important thing that you have to do that day. No break, which actually works very well because a lot of information out there is indicating that people really can focus for about 90 minutes and we begin to tap out. But yeah, that's a way that we can use the priority principle. Now, that's kind of in the more, that's a kind of a 90-day challenge, I would say. By the way, if you wanna know more about how to conduct challenges, 30, 60, 90-day challenges to help your life move forward, please go check out my other video on challenges that I published recently. It'll help you a lot. Another way that we can use the priority principle, which I think is really important, is a lot of times we reach crossroads in life. This might be going with one romantic partner or going single. This might be going with one business or another. This might be joining a business or starting your own. These are big life decisions. By the way, guys, as a quick tangent, all of these examples I gave about routines and stuff like that, and examples of when to use these principles, I can give these because they've applied to myself in the past. And so I want to give you this so hopefully you guys can save some time and move quicker than I have because I'm taking the time to study these things and I want to share them with you. So back to what I was saying. We need a framework from which to make big decisions. Now, how does this play into the priority principle? Well, pretty simply. Take the time and ask yourself what the most important things are in your life and then rank them. Go maybe 1 to 10. On your deathbed, on your last day, what is the number one thing that you need to have accomplished before you die? The number one thing. Do you want to give a lot of value to the world? Do you want to be a billionaire? Do you want to have the best kids that have ever come onto the planet? Do you want to paint a picture? The point is no matter what that thing is, whenever something comes into conflict with that number one priority, whenever something threatens to steal the likelihood that you accomplish that away, remove that threat from your life. And then you look at number 2, number 3, number 4, and go all the way down the list of importance and do that same thing. Now, 1 might be threatened by number 2, but because number 1 is number 1, if 2 needs to be eliminated, then it needs to be eliminated. For me, for example, I was really into, again, super long routines that I thought was kind of revving my engine, getting me ready to really do the shit. But it wasn't until I sacrificed my engine routine for the actual work. It wasn't until I did that actual work began to get accomplished. Understand that if meditation is really important to you, and by the way, I'm a huge proponent of meditation for a million different reasons. If you want to hear more on that, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make a video specifically about meditation. But if my number one is, let's say I really want to write a book, unless that book is about doing meditation all day, unless that's what it's about, then I should probably skip my routine or alter my routine that's doing meditation for 5-6 hours a day. Now, no, I wasn't doing meditation for 5-6 hours a day, but I was doing it for an hour a day. And I had lots of different things that I was doing for an hour a day. I'd say, okay, well, I got to read one strictly traditional self-help book for an hour a day. Next is I have to read one book on health for an hour a day. I have to read a scientific study for at least an hour a day. And it got to a point where my whole day was about preparing me to be some superhuman, but I was never taking any action on it. And it wasn't until I categorized my life into priorities and I said, okay, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, so on and so forth. If 2 threatens 1, then 2's gotta go. If 3 threatens 2, then 3's gotta go. But it's such a simple system, but it's not easy. Taking the time to prioritize your life and using Arnold's priority principle to understand, okay, what am I gonna train first? What am I gonna go into my life gym, How am I gonna apply these first 90 minutes to ensure that I'm always investing in the number one biggest priority bucket so that I'm actually gonna achieve it, or at least get close to achieving it by the end of my life? Because the reality is, and I'm not here to shit on anybody, but the bigger your dreams, generally speaking, the statistical odds are less likely that you accomplish it the bigger they are. So if you want to make $100 in your life, the odds are a lot higher than if you want to make $1 trillion in your life. So being that the odds are realistically stacked against you, to become what you must become, which is the whole idea of this channel, you need to do everything you can to counterbalance those God-given odds. Because someone will be, for example, we'll take my prior example, someone will be the first trillionaire, someone will be that person. And the odds stacked against them are probably tremendous because there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of great things. And if you want to be that person, then the odds are, again, pretty far against you. So if your meditation practice, which feels great, or your language studying hobby, or your sports that you play, or whatever, is decreasing your chance of achieving number 1, and that's not the number 1 goal, you might have to let it go. I'm going to do a follow-up video specifically to this one that talks about when you've mastered your time, what comes next. So look out for that. That'll be probably right after this one. But for now, guys, use the priority principle to help you determine what you should do and when. What does the priority principle dictate that you do? Don't go into the gym. Let's go back to that example. Go into the gym and say, well, today is arm day, so I really love it. So I'm going to start with my favorite exercise. That works sometimes, but then your least favorite exercise, by that same logic, you'll never have that much energy for it. And when you don't have that much energy for it, you won't have that much time for it. And when you don't have that much time for it, it disappears and you don't get results. And so if you're constantly letting the number 1 thing disappear in the background to thing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then guess what? You're not stacking your odds in your favor to counterbalance the unlikelihood that that number 1 thing even gets accomplished anyway. So guys, this is not meant to be pessimistic at all. It's meant to be a framework from which you can make decisions where if you really love someone, for example, and they threaten your ability to become what you must become, let's say someone, you're with someone and they need 40% of your time and all you have is 15% time to give because the other 85 or even whatever, 60 or 50 or whatever it is dedicated to the number 1 thing, which it should be, especially as a young man, then you might have to cut that out of your life. And it's not easy, it's very hard. The system is simple, meaning it's not complex, but it's hard in that it does require discipline, which goes back to my past video, so please check that out about discipline. Anyway, guys, with that said, I'm gonna wrap it up there. If you guys like this video, please leave me a like. It pushes it out to the algorithm and it lets me know that you guys liked the video. Please subscribe if you wanna see more videos like this so that you never miss any value that I bring that might be valuable to your life at that particular point. Also ring the notification bell for that same reason. And finally, leave me a comment. I love talking with you guys. I love hearing any comments that you guys have. Any feedback, any requests for videos, they're always appreciated. Thank you so much. My name is Spencer with the Must Become YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.